So you're telling me there's a chance.
Still
wow.
a chance, baby.
We have a lot to unload on this week's Flame Central podcast, powered by Alcova Mortgage, people. It's just the three amigos on the show today.
That's right. That's all you need.
So we have a lot coming your way. Has anyone checked on the UMass kicker?
Ooh, boy.
I mean, poor kid.
Poor kid.
I think he was kicking into
Tough
the wind.
little mile. Tough.
Right. The field goal.
Where is that from? Tough little. Probably hung on for a mile or so.
Was that vacation?
Yes.
The dog tied to the bumper?
He tied in
Yeah.
his dog to the
Yeah.
bumper.
Oh my gosh, that is so sad.
And Chevy comes back. He's got the collar right there.
Yeah.
And he goes, probably was tough little mutt. Probably,
That is awful. We are not
probably
reenacting that
Probably
video.
hung on for a mile or so.
That's awful. Down 20-7 at the half.
Never a
Flames
doubt.
Football.
Never a doubt.
Found a way. Wow, that was an emotional roller coaster. You guys know how that goes with me.
Wow.
And
We live it.
we were along for the ride, and here we are sitting at, what's our overall record?
7-2.
7-2. 7-2. And Matt has all of the numbers, like, is there a chance?
I wouldn't-
The
yeah.
CUSA championship game is still alive.
Oh, yeah.
Western Kentucky lost at La Tech.
12-7.
Yeah. There's a lot out there. It's all out there.
It's all out there.
It's all there for the taking.
You said it, Em. You said the roller coaster. That's my big takeaway from all of this. Just strap in, right? And enjoy the ride.
Right.
Because it's been an absolute up and down affair all year long. You never know what to expect. Liberty is talented enough to beat every team on their schedule.
No doubt.
They've also shown the ability to be awful and you know what I mean? Like make really bad teams look pretty darn good. So you don't really know what to expect, but you're in it and you control your own destiny. You said Western Kentucky, their loss, before we needed help. We thought, boy, we're going to need Jack State to win the last two, and we'll need to win the last two. No longer.
No longer.
Win the last two, we're championship bound. So that's all we need to worry about. We
so
control our own
wild.
destiny.
Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
That's it.
All right. It's all you got to
It's
do
all
is
right
win.
there.
It's all right
there.
All right
Oof,
there.
two tough teams, because I thought Sam Houston was going to lose.
They almost did.
They almost lost. That went into overtime at Kennesaw. Yeah. So it was wild. Basketball season is here. The Field of 68 event was at Charleston this past week. I have a couple thoughts on not only the team, but just that event and just college basketball, the nature of it right now in just a moment. But first, talking about Jamie Chadwell's post game, he said the one thing that made me a little nervous, and obviously we saw that if you watched the game, it reminded me of the first 6 games. So how do you shake the way they played? How do you shake that before Western Kentucky comes to the Berg? By the way, I know you guys have all been wondering, we are on the call this week.
Yes.
We are back on the call for a huge game.
Because here's the deal. We hope all the students that watch this podcast that you hang around and you make it to the game. But for all those people in the area, get out there. Yeah. Because the Flames are going to need to fill that place up, and it's going to be a little bit more difficult with potentially a lot of students leaving for Thanksgiving.
So they get the entire Thanksgiving week off?
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
What?
I never did. We never did. Back in our day.
What?
It was like, hey, go eat your turkey, get back for an afternoon class. You know what I mean? It's like, we'll give you 2 hours on Thursday, get back.
I thought they were like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off. Why don't we get the whole week off?
No, Matt, there's no way they're off the whole.
Doug, is it not?
Hey, come on.
I think they're off the whole week.
That is ridiculous. The kids these days, they have no clue. Do you know how I used to get to school?
Emily.
It was
Can we get an Emily
on their
Austin,
TikToks and
they're
their
TikToking. Don't worry.
Insta faces, and they get all week off for Thanksgiving.
Just get off the Snapgram and come to the ball game.
Yeah, right.
Get off the Snapgram, come to the ball game.
Yeah.
Emily, Austin Cudd, can we get a weather report, please? Since you are the
It is going to be cold.
It is?
And 10 to 20 mile per hour winds. I don't see you taking some long shots down the field because
that could be good
I think
for
it's
us.
a high of 50,
50 high.
low of 33.
Now it's a 1 o'clock game.
It's a 1 o'clock
We'll be
kick,
fine.
but I'm just saying, you're getting out there and it's going to be a little chilly.
At 1 o'clock, it will be
listen to
50
this.
degrees, 49 degrees.
Yak Talk. I might pull out the beanie.
Oh,
Go
it's
beanie.
beanie weather.
Yeah, why not?
I might wear a
Is it
beanie.
sweater weather?
Sweater weather.
Is it sweater weather?
Sweater weather.
Yeah.
I might pull out the beanie. We'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
But 10 to 20 mile per hour winds, That is
a little gusty.
Let's just call it 45.
Wait, you're predicting the wins on Monday?
Yeah,
It's Saturday.
Yeah.
Leave that up
that's
to
a win for
Flickinger.
Do you know, Flickinger tells me all the inside info. Do you see what I've been through this season?
There's no way that you
Okay, we've got to start talking about sports.
Let's go.
Okay. Okay, just a recap real quick. Your thought on this UMass game, or do we just look at it?
No. I think we can touch on it real quick. Concerning.
Yes.
The opening drive, a team that had not run it well or played all that well without their starting quarterback. I don't think they even attempted a pass. 77 rush yards right down our throat, scored a touchdown to open the game. There were some problems. And Jamie Chadwell, you talked about him saying it reminded him of early in the season. The other line he had that concerned me was, you're down 20-7 at the half, and he says, at halftime, he was asked, what kind of adjustments did you make defensively? He said, it was no scheme issue. It was like a heart and mindset issue. That's more concerning to me than a scheme issue. That shows kind of what, it's the old Bill Parcells, you are what your record says you are. In this case, it's kind of you are what your tape says you are. And our tape has said that we tend to play to the level of our opponent. Mm-hmm. And that's concerning, that the defense gave up that many points to, frankly,
because they had the mindset, they're starting
UMass
quarterback.
team that is not good. So that is concerning. That's something that they have to shore up for sure. But outside of that, the big takeaway is Quentin Cooley's just a monster.
Where would this team be?
Like Quentin Cooley has just said basically, get on my back. And Chadwell even said after they missed the extra point overtime, he goes, we're just giving it to Cooley. We're just going to give it to Cooley. And that was it. That's the game plan. You get late stages, give it to Cooley, pound the rock. He had one of his best games of the season, 3 touchdowns. And in the second half of the season, they have really leaned into the run. In fact, I'll give you a couple of quick numbers. First 4 games, Liberty was averaging 240 pass yards a game. Last 5, they're averaging 150 pass yards a game.
Yeah, that's
because they drop away from the run or from the pass a lot. Some of that is the injuries, probably at receiver,
and not catching
and some
the ball.
drops certainly. Yeah. But like they've gotten to the point where it's like, we are what we are.
Yeah. And
Quentin Cooley's the best player on the field. We're gonna ride with him, and in this game, you got just enough.
Here's the thing. Here's the deal.
You always know the long, slow inhale with Joe. Something good's coming.
It's coming. Whenever you get, I don't care who you are in college football, right? When you start getting into November and these kids who are 18 to 21 years old, they're not professionals, they're 18, 21 years old, and a lot of teams in a lot of places ride a roller coaster. Yeah. Okay. And the most susceptible time to ride the roller coaster is when you have to go on the road in November. Right? Mm-hmm. And here's the deal. Like if you're a coach and you're looking at it, you have to look at where. When you go on the road and you go into a place like UMass, and I don't care who you're playing, if you don't bring your pop and you don't bring your punch, right, you're going to be in trouble. And that's exactly what happened. It's like when you start looking at that game and you look at the early drives, it's dudes on the defensive line where there's not the initial strike. There's not a pop, there's not a punch. It's just, I'm getting on my block, I'm riding that guy down, I'm trying to do my job, right? And you get the ball run down your throat. You have to come early when you're on the road in November. You got to bring your pop and you got to bring your punch. And you didn't see any of that until, at least when I was watching the game, until later in the game with the defensive line. It's like, you got to play like in the first quarter, in the first drive. You got to learn how to play like we're in trouble now.
Not easing your way in.
You can't ease your way in a game. Yeah. There was an easing way game. But just like you said, the guy who does bring his pop and his punch every time is Cooley.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. Cooley leads the way bringing the pop and the punch. Now you got to be able to take that and say, guys, we got to do this because you're already susceptible to it. Yeah. You're at UMass. You're on the road. They're 2-6, 2-7, whatever they were, and it's a 12 o'clock kickoff. You got to figure it out.
Yeah.
You got to figure out a way when you step on between the lines. It's go time, and you got to bring your pop and your punch, and you got to do it on the road. Period.
Not
and a conversation
for our Northeasterners.
A little pop.
Well, and the other thing too, on top of that, and it goes along with that, is how often, whenever you see a team that's like heavily favored or just is way more talented, you say, you can't give that underdog hope, right? You can't give them that spread, because how important is that? You're UMass. You're used to getting your brains beat in all year. You go down 14-0. you're packing up you're done.
Yeah.
But you give these teams like the FIUs, all these teams, the Kennesaws, you give them that life early. They're like, we're in this thing. And it's very easy to put those kind of teams away early, and they're done. They're like, here we go again.
Correct.
Pack it in.
And here's the thing, is if you're on the other side of it, you can feel it.
Yeah.
I've been in those games before. It's like, oh, these dudes ain't ready.
Yeah.
Right? These dudes ain't ready. We are gonna smash it right down their throats. Right? And when that happens early like that, it's exactly what you said. It creates that momentum for them.
I'll jump in just because it ties into this to one of our mailbag questions. And this comes from Robert. Mailbag. He says, your boy Dan Quinn, Commanders coach, has a Tell the Truth Monday. That's his thing.
I love it.
He said, and I haven't double-checked these numbers, but I trust Robert. He said ESPN's defensive efficiency ranks Liberty 113th out of 134. He says, Joe, it's time to tell the truth.
Whoa.
What is the truth in your eyes about this defense and what they can or maybe have shown they cannot do as well?
I think it is the inconsistency of it.
That's what Coach Chadwell said.
Yeah, I mean, it's the inconsistency of it. Like sometimes you just don't have good enough dudes.
Yeah.
Right? That's just the reality of what you live. So then when you, as a coach, if you look around and you're like, dang, we just don't have good enough dudes, then you got to get put on a little bit of a dog and pony show. Right? You got to try things that that are a little bit unsound in order to create pressures that may be really, they're not going to be there unless you have the dudes. Okay, well, the problem that Liberty has right now from that side of things, in my opinion, is that they've got the guys, right? The guys are there. So when you think as a coach, like, dude, don't reinvent the wheel. If you have the players, we can rush forward. We can mix things up. We can do what we need to do fundamentally and be really sound in order to win football games. But you got to play. You got to play like it, right? And I think that's the problem. Is like they show the times when it's like, dude, we can be really sound just playing football, covering people, getting pressure on the quarterback, getting in the gap, stopping the run, the linebackers flown over the top, waiting, pay. We can do all those things. We've shown we can do it, right? So that's how we're going to coach them. That's how we're going to play. But then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, you don't show up. You don't have punch. You don't have pop. You're not filling gaps. You're not tackling well and all those things. And it's like, okay, now what the heck are we supposed to do?
It's got to be the most frustrating thing as a coach.
So it's like people are always like coaches, right? Yeah. And to some that's true. But it's also like what I always go back to is this. When I was coaching, I see a player, if you show me you can do it, you're capable of doing it right one time, I'm expecting you to do it right all the time.
Right.
Right? And I think, so it's like, well, what are we supposed to do now? Right? You want to tell the truth, like put on the film, like here's you doing it 10 times. Yeah. Here's us dominating, doing great 10 times. And now here's another 10 plays where it's like, what the heck are you doing?
So why do you think that they aren't?
So my question is, as a coach, what do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do? Do we turn like, hey, let's start taking chances and becoming unsound because we're just not consistent enough, right? So you want to go down that road? Yeah. Well, then all of a sudden you wake up and Western Kentucky throws 42 points on you.
Yeah, right.
Or, whatever it is. So it's like, it's a balancing act for these coaches to be able to figure out, like, and I think the question is, what do you do?
No, I'm saying, why aren't they showing that? If they're capable of doing it, do you think it's out of? Do you think it's just out of laziness? Do you think it's out of like, there's just maybe not that like team bond and brotherhood that we've seen in years past?
I don't know. Some of it too is year to year, you'd have these changes. And as much as Liberty brought back some key contributors, there's also a lot of guys that had never performed at this level before that you're throwing out there. And so you're seeing, especially in the defensive backs.
I think that's why you see a lot of the inconsistency.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, as much as we thought, and you go back to last year, well, it's not last year. Like, you've got a lot of guys in new roles. Yeah. And they're just, and then you have injuries on top of that add to it as well. Like a Christian Bodner who was so good early that hasn't been available late. Like, things like that. Then you're like, well, now here's another guy who hasn't proven it and hasn't really performed all that well. But where else do we turn at this point?
Yeah, but I do think that there are some other programs where it's next man up mentality. There's
everybody
every single
says
program.
Everybody
no, but I know everybody says that. But if yes, there are teams that have they have a mantra that's like, hey, if somebody goes down, the next person's gonna go up, and we like rely on this same. I don't know. There's just like that standard, and if Liberty's supposed to have that, and you have the next guy coming up, and he's not like playing with that same expectation and standard, then I don't know. I feel like that needs to be Is that in this program? I don't know.
Here's the deal.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like
I know what you mean. Yeah, I'm not.
Like
I'm
yeah,
not, I'm not
every team has injuries, but when the next guy steps up, you don't see that drop off of like that consistent intensity, that consistent play and mindset and heart. That doesn't drop. Yes, their level of play might drop because that player behind him might not be as good, but I just don't know if like these guys stepping up, if they're just the heart isn't in the whole team.
You know what? You cut through all the chase, and it's this: stop the middle run. Just stop the middle run, right? Like, hey guys, let's get in the meat grinder here, and let's go. Let's stop the middle run. You control the middle run when a team runs for 263 yards on you, right? UMass. I mean, I get if it's some of these teams. Like, okay, I look back and I look at the Jacksonville State game, right? Like that back was good,
right?
Really
like,
good,
dude, that dude's hard. That dude's like he's a problem. Right, that dude's gonna be hard to stop. Like you better get geared up to stop. If you have to face him again, right, you better get geared up to stop him. But here's like this isn't rocket science, man. It's like fight pressure and stop the middle run. You stop the middle run in this game right here, it's a totally different ball game. So that goes back to what Jamie said, and that's a heart and a grit and a toughness and the ability to get ready to play right now. Right now, you can't be messing around.
And it is hard when you have a lot of like your top guys going. I mean, the injury wave has really crushed this team. When you finally get some good guys,
but they're 7-2.
I get it.
They still have a championship game sitting out in front of them.
Yeah, but I just feel like it's sad. Like if you don't have that heart and grit, like I mean, not a lot of people have the opportunity to play this game, and you're getting that opportunity. You don't have that heart and grit. That's just sad to me.
Let me one more point. Every team goes through this, right? And it's huge. And that is the ability it's the old basketball, the ability to survive and advance when you don't play well. You're going to have those games.
Yeah, but that's been the majority of the season.
Yeah, I understand that, right? But the only game they really lost where it went that way was the Kennesaw State game. Jacksonville State is a good football team.
Yeah.
Right? Kennesaw State, they lost that one. They were playing with fire long enough, they lost that. But to take a game like UMass, and dude, you see the field goal at the end? The guy's got a 42-yard field goal. You still won the football game. Yes. You survived and advanced, and you'll be surprised when that happens. A lot of times, come back next week, okay, guys, we survived, we advanced. Now let's buckle up and get going. And I would not be shocked at all. Western Kentucky rolls in here, and the Flames play really, really well, especially defensively. I would not be shocked at all. Like where's that been? Yeah. Right, because they're capable.
And on top of that, just in terms of the mindset, this game, you're talking about conference championship and all that, this meant nothing, right? Would it have been really embarrassing? Yes. Right. Could you have said maybe you lost to the two worst teams in the nation in 1 year? Potentially. But it wouldn't have mattered in terms
telling the truth.
of conference championship. And because of that, is this your typical look ahead kind of game? Absolutely it was. Absolutely it was. They all know these last 2 weeks.
They call those things a trap.
That's right. These last 2 weeks are everything.
Yeah. 100%.
Okay, so I hope Cooley, I hope that he goes in the locker room or he's just at practice this week and rallying the guys together, and they look at him and they're like, we got to play for Cooley.
Well, we've got to play for Cooley.
Because what he's done and brought this team through this year, I just really hope that they rally around him and bring the best game of the year against Boston.
Honestly, what the guys will do, they'll get in that locker room, they'll rally around Cooley, and they say, guys, listen, Joe's fantasy team's a runaway train. So why don't we just polish this thing off right now? This Cooley gets 3 more TDs for Cooley. 7 yards per carry. Let's go in. Do
you want to go into WKU now or later?
Let's go into WKU a little bit later, but it's something to think about is Bentley Hanshaw, Alex Oliver both went down on Saturday.
And that's you talk about defensive backs where it's been a struggle now. Yeah, we'll see what that holds for him.
There is more injuries to be concerned about for the Flames. We'll do WKU bold predictions and stupid fantasy league. I'm actually gonna hold off that trophy.
Train.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold off that trophy for another year. I don't even know. That thing's already in the dumpster.
No, right there.
Men's basketball field of 68 tip-off event. We've heard Coach McKay talk about the whole, building the non-con schedule and how it's so difficult to get teams to play you, yada, yada, yada. I'm talking about the game Saturday night against FAU. Yeah. It was heartbreaking not only to see the final score, but watching that game, no one except maybe like a couple Liberty fans is in that arena. Like no one is in that arena.
Yeah.
And it's just like we're missing. If that game was at FAU or that game was at Liberty, oh my gosh, it'd be rocking and you get the whole college basketball experience. It's just so sad to me that like we're just playing these really good teams and good games that are going into overtime and there's like crickets in the arena.
Well, and we'll see next year when it comes to Liberty if Liberty people show up. Because this event comes here next year.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Well, geez.
So
Emily
it was
just-
at
Emily
was
just
really
got her problem solved.
Yeah, right.
You just got your problem
There you go.
solved.
Done.
They're
So
we're gonna pack
the
it
whole
out.
deal is it's a
But
3-year deal with
We're gonna
Liberty,
pack it out.
FAU,
No, I
and
know,
Charleston.
but-
Last year at FAU, those 3 teams. This year at Charleston, those 3 teams.
There was nobody
Next
at
year at
Charleston?
Liberty.
Well, the Charleston game there is because that's a home game for them. I'm talking about the
Oh, I see
like
what
why
you're saying.
can't we just go to FAU, like not have this event at all?
Well,
That's
because
what I was saying.
The beauty of this event is you get a matchup of 3 really good mid-majors, and you get to play 2 games in 3 days right there, all one location. So
I
honestly,
know, I
I
hate
wish
it,
more
though.
people would do these type of events
Well,
because then you get better games
Yeah.
and it's on a rotating basis.
I know, but it just makes me sad when it's just like no one is there.
It's a COVID location. You didn't know that.
Whatever.
No, the
I
crowd's
don't
bad,
like
but
it.
like
I don't like it. I like when it's a full
Sure.
house and non-conference game, and I don't know.
well, then when you're there next year to watch Charleston FAU play,
Yeah.
you do your part. Do your part.
That's right. That's your.
Yeah. Remember this. File that away for next year. Make
File
sure
it
she's
away.
in the arena.
I'm
Make sure
talking
she's in the
about for
arena.
our teams. I'm not talking about supporting like just other
Right,
random
but it's the
games.
same for them. Like that's what their
I know,
Emily
but I'm
Austin is
just-
saying.
I
Will
am
be
just-
saying, why aren't people? They shouldn't be.
I know the point you're
Why are
making.
they
I'm
watching
not
this game?
saying
It would be
why
good
are
to
people
pack it out.
there. I'm saying it would be good to play FAU at the school's location. I'm not
They did
saying
last
that.
year.
Okay, never mind.
They did.
Holy
This is a
smokes, Matt is
rotating
just
thing.
on
This is
one.
what we do. This is,
You're not getting my point whatsoever,
your
but
point.
it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Okay, they lost by 3 in overtime to FAU, empty arena. How would they bounce back? Wow, 68-47
Bam.
win. What a great defensive performance. Flames go on 23-4 run to open the second. Held Charleston to 21.4% shooting in the second half.
do you like that crowd?
I didn't watch that game.
Oh, well, that was a good one. It actually was a packed house for that game. So that was good. Yeah, 47 points. Charleston had the top score in the country, averaging over 30 a game. They had just beat FAU 2 nights earlier in, was it double overtime? And they had the day off. So Liberty's playing back-to-back nights, coming off an overtime game themselves.
Okay.
You're like, boy, will they have the legs? Like, this is a tough situation to be in, packed house, tough road environment. And they hold them to 47 points and show that kind of defensive performance that makes Richie McKay proud, certainly. And I think the biggest takeaway when you watch this game is we talk about the length. You see it in a game like this against a high-level opponent. Liberty with 9 blocks in this game. They were a problem defensively. Isaiah Enan, like his length gave them fits. He also shot it well from 3. So you see that, and against 2 really, really good mid-majors that could very well be tournament teams, you went toe-to-toe, went to overtime and lost with 1, blew out the other one on their home floor. Like, you couldn't ask for much more outside of free throw shooting out of these 2 games. And we can get to that in a minute. But, like,
Zach Cleveland, 20 points.
Zach Cleveland did everything. You saw all these newcomers chip in. They're getting better, it feels like, every game. And maybe one more stat that was really important, I think, for me. They only shot 18 threes in that win over Charleston. Only once last year did they shoot fewer than that.
Oh.
So that's showing you they're finding other ways
still
to
blew 'em
score.
out.
They're finding other ways to score. They're not so reliant on have to shoot 25, 28 threes to win. They can score in a variety of ways, and that size is certainly helping them do that.
Yeah, Zach Cleveland, he had 7 assists on Saturday night, but, he's not only scoring, he is distributing his teammates. And
Go ahead, Cleveland.
one of the best
Yo, cheater,
passers that we've seen here at Liberty, in my opinion, since I've been here. But, yeah, so it should
He is
be
a great
exciting.
passer. Remember we had him on the podcast, and he said, what's your favorite thing to do? And he said passing, right?
Yeah, he did.
Assists.
The guys were definitely having fun on their way home on the bus. They were singing Ain't No Mountain High Enough. Some great singers on this team as well. So you can just tell that they're bonding quite a bit. So maybe being on the road and playing in empty arenas
So
will
now they
benefit
go
them
to
moving
the
forward.
Paradise Jam in the Virgin Islands. Wouldn't expect great crowds there either.
Well, you two stop.
But a bunch of teams will get together. They play what's called a tournament. And so they'll do that in the Virgin Islands. Liberty starts with Louisiana on Friday. If they win, they would likely play K-State the next round. So that could, I mean, there's some real opportunity there against some good opponents. So
K-State,
that's
legit.
Yeah.
In cross country, Adeline Fairley. She's been married since here on the mountain, so I always forget. Finished 8th in the Southeast Regional Championship. So congratulations to her. So she's going to nationals November 23rd in Wisconsin. I think they start that race around like 10 a.m. So that sounds really chilly. So 6K race there in nationals.
She's a Michigan girl, though, I believe. So she may be all right with that.
She'll be fine. So yeah, congrats to her on.
It's how I feel when I have that cool air in my lungs when I'm training for the mile.
Right.
Very similar.
Absolutely.
It will never see the day. Okay, what do we know about Western Kentucky?
All right, real quick before we get that, women's basketball, I do want to shout them out. They lost at Tennessee, but scored 93 points in the process. So fell down early.
Tennessee Volunteers?
109-93 was the final in that game. Bella Smuda, 27 points. Wow. Freshman guard Avery Mills, LCA girl, 19 points off the bench. LCA girl? So I like this women's team. I think they think about, here's their schedule coming up. They go at Towson Sunday. So what's that, like Baltimore area? Yeah. And then they go Grand Canyon Wednesday.
Whoa.
So Sunday, you fly to Phoenix and you play Wednesday, and they come back here for Saturday. So they're
Grand Canyon's women's basketball team like? Their men's team is good.
Yeah, they're good. Oh, yeah. They are good. Yeah, they're very good. So
they're definitely being tested in the non-con.
Absolutely.
So, and
hanging tough.
They are legit, I think.
Yeah, and hanging tough. So yeah, like what they're seeing. All right, here's the numbers. WKU, right? Couple numbers that just to keep an eye on as we go into this game. They are 28th in the nation in pass yards per game.
I think we should name this segment Numbers That Matter.
Numbers That Matter.
By Matt.
Only if it's powered by Alcova.
Numbers That Matter, powered by Alcova Mortgage.
Good.
Go.
WKU, 28th in the country in pass yards per game. Caden Veltkamp, their quarterback. But wind, gusty, maybe a little gusty.
Yeah.
You don't really know there. They don't run it nearly as well. Here's the number that matters even more, though, for Liberty when they have the ball. Western Kentucky's defense, 107th in the nation in rush defense. They give up 185 yards per game on the ground. They just gave up 209 to Louisiana Tech a week ago in a 12-7 loss.
We're not talking about your fantasy team.
So, Liberty,
I'm talking about winning championship. I'm with you.
That's what you want to see.
Heck yeah.
To say, all right, you guys struggle there. We're gonna test you, and that's what we kind of expect going into this one. So we'll see how it goes. But I think those numbers, especially if it's gusty, you hope if you're Liberty right now, maybe the fans won't enjoy it, but you want those 30-mile-an-hour winds.
Let me tell you something.
You want it to be a little nasty.
Let me tell you something about a guy, old CFL deal. When there's a lot of wind in Canada in the prairies, and when it gets late in the season, and this is my dad, Hall of Fame coach Ray Yock, the Silver Fox Hall of Fame coach Ray Yock would always say this. He'd always say this. He'd said, if you win the coin toss, you always make sure that you get the wind in the second and fourth quarters. That's when you want it. That's when there's the most possessions.
Yeah.
And so don't necessarily hey, we got to get the ball, we want to defer, right? No, you want to go the direction with the wind in the second and in the fourth quarters. So Jamie Chadwell, put that in your little memory bank and think about it because the Silver Fox don't play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm hooting.
I'm nervous. I don't know. All the injuries.
We're getting early spread on this game. I'd like to know that.
Let me
find out. In the meantime, we need a little social media tease. So
what do we got?
For you? I need to clip off. So why are the Flames capable of winning this game on Saturday?
Oh, I think it's because of what Matt Warner just said right there. Is that if you can run the ball, you have the opportunity to run the ball with Cooley and the line, then you're always going to be in a football game. You may not always win a football game, but you're always going to be. If you can rush the football, you can run the football and stop the run, then you're always going to be in a football game. And so I think that with those numbers that he's talking about right there, the numbers that matter by Matt Warner, that's going to get the fun. And then I think you're going to see a really energized football team. I think defensively, you're going to see an energized football team. So
line I'm seeing right now is Western Kentucky by 1.
Really?
According to ESPN.
Wow.
So yeah. We'll see.
Wow. What a ball game. I mean, this is basically for all the marbles.
Appreciation.
Listen,
Senior Day.
WKU, they're playing for a conference championship game too. That game, 100%. That loss last week, really puts them in some trouble. So they can't slip up either here down the stretch. So it's all on the line. How fun is this going to be? A game that matters.
I'm never going to get in the game with my
we didn't know if we would.
You're going to be all over it.
What are you talking about? Because I don't want to be.
Here's what we're going to go down to Emily and do one of these guys, it's the wind, guys, like hanging on to something, guys.
And then there's going to be someone just walking by normally.
Those are my favorite Weather Channel things, where it's like, the flooding is out of control, and a kid in his swimsuit's like splashing behind him. Yeah.
No, Emily's going to be calling, all of a sudden her beanie's going to come flying off her head.
Oh my gosh. It might be a beanie day. Man, 10 to 20 miles per hour.
I saw up to 30 potentially.
Wind gusts.
Yeah, I don't understand how you know the wind's going to be a week from now.
It is called weather patterns.
I don't know.
What do you think? They study the weather patterns, and the low pressure system comes down, and it pushes
What's
up.
The barometric pressure?
You know what else you know what else is a really good pattern?
What's that?
The pattern of the way that the folks at Alcova Mortgage take care of you.
Yeah.
Right? Because
it's good.
It's
good.
Let her do the transition. Like that. Don't
that
force
what a rookie
it.
mistake.
You just forced that.
I just forced it.
Let the pros handle this.
You know what? You know what? It might be cold. You know, winter is coming. The holidays are almost here. Yes. Oh, it's chilly. I need to go inside. Does my house have a fireplace? No, but that new one that I saw in the market does. So I'm going to buy that.
Is why, Joe.
Why didn't I just leave it alone?
Do you see what we could have added there? Now.
And if you are in the market of buying a new home, I have the guy for you over at Alcova Mortgage.
Now is when you go.
Visit Joe Yock at Alcova Mortgage. That's alcova.com/Liberty, where you can receive up to 1% credit to up to $5,000 towards your closing costs. It's a heck of a deal, folks. So alcova.com/Liberty. It's almost too easy.
And did you say what happens if you're a Liberty alum or staff member?
Yeah, you get 1%.
Yeah. Like I was telling Joe before, I had a guy come up to me the other day and said, "Hey, a buddy of mine is starting to look for us," and I told him, "You got to call Alcova." He's like, "I wouldn't have even known about Alcova if it weren't for the podcast."
Exactly.
We're changing lives. We're changing lives. We're putting money in people's pockets.
Speaking of changing lives, the little thing you put out on Twitter of Cooley and Brylan Green torching the UMass flag. Do we get that on the turnover? Should that be the new turnover celebration?
I mean, it'd be beautiful.
I mean, yeah.
I'm
gonna ask Brad Queen.
A lot of space.
If you had flamethrower and you could just hammer that thing when you got a turnover, and just
Can you imagine?
You might need to like keep fans out of a whole section.
Yeah.
Just so you
have
flamethrower
section.
Yeah, right.
Can you imagine it like burning like the
melting
turf?
The seats and the turf? Yeah.
People are walking around.
Yeah.
That would be awful.
No, we don't want
that. That sounds awful. Okay, so gosh, I'm really torn about my bold prediction. Do Flames fantasy.
Well, we've got fantasy and mailbag as well.
Yeah,
so
fantasy. Let's go fantasy.
Oh, yeah, I thought you'd say that. All right, let me pull that up here. Fantasy. We know how this is going to go.
This is such a stupid segment.
Joe, Quentin Cooley, I think, outscored both of our teams combined. He had 32 points.
What a shame. I feel terrible.
Billy Lucas, let's not forget Billy Lucas, by the way. He went for over 90 yards on the ground. He had missed the previous game, being dinged up.
Oh, yeah.
Good getting him back.
Billy Cool Hand Lucas.
So Joe scored 44.4 points. He's up to 325.9. I had an awful week, 13.3 points. I was led by Joe Carter. And so I have 221.8.
You had a little switch up to your roster.
I did. I'm going to make another one, I think, here this week, too. I have 221.8. Emily's tracking me down, slowly but surely. She had only 16.8 points.
Cute fight for second place.
She was led by Quentin Reese. Typically, if your defensive player is leading, which both of us, that was the case. You didn't have a great day.
Yeah.
She's at 214.2.
What am I at again?
325.
Oh, yeah.
I'm at 221. She's at 214.
You have like a 100-point lead.
Yeah.
We get Cooley's points too from here on out.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Salters. Gosh. Mailbag.
All right, let's go mailbag. We already hit our one from Robert. Let's go to David. Says, Flames survived. So that's kind of what we talked about. He said, has Conference USA, the teams in this league, improved in your mind since last year? Or are our struggles purely internal? Do you feel like some of these teams
That's a really
have
good
improved?
question.
Or is it just we have taken a step back compared to a year?
I think they've improved.
Think so?
I think Sam Houston's a much better football team.
Yeah,
They made
totally
the adjustment
agree with
over.
that. Yeah.
Jacksonville State obviously is better. Western Kentucky's good. And, it's like when you look back at it, you're like, oh, Liberty should run through Conference USA again, just like they did last year, right? Like pretty easily. And so, I think the conference as a whole, especially in the top end, has improved. Liberty, Jacksonville State, Western Kentucky, and then you look at Louisiana.
They played some teams.
Like they
tight.
played some teams really tight, and they just turned around and beat Western Kentucky. So yeah, I definitely think the conference is. Now with that being said, when you start breaking down conferences,
right.
Yeah, like when you're looking at them, like it's a better conference with internally, but on a national level, it's still not.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I also think that I think it's a mix. Like the conference is a little better, but I do think that
because having said that too, we still haven't seen the two other best teams.
I don't think
we saw Jack State. We still haven't seen Sam and Western Kentucky yet. So
that's a good point.
I don't think that we've seen the best Liberty team either.
That's fair.
For whatever reason.
I think probably the best game we played start to finish was the Jack State game that we lost.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, one other question. This one coming from our buddy Steve. He says, "Is Richie McKay all right with his team shooting 60% from the free throw line?"
I would say no.
I would say probably not. Now, last year, they only shot 66%.
Oh, really?
They were not good last year either. This year,
Cleveland missed some.
This year, they're shooting, right at 60%. So here's the challenge. If that's the one knock I think we have on this team so far is free throw shooting.
Yeah.
The challenge becomes, if this continues, you run so much through Zach Cleveland in late game situations that in that FAU game, I was like, man, why don't they just foul and send him to the line? Make him earn it there.
Right.
Because he is such a dangerous passer. Obviously, he can score at the rim. So that'll be interesting. He and Aquino are the two. They've struggled from the line here early. Like if those two guys can figure it out, that changes things. But 60%, not good. And you make the case, forget the open three at the end that you missed against FAU at the end of regulation. The bigger thing you regret from that game was the free throw shooting. Mm-hmm. You had a chance to win it at the line and couldn't do it there. So, got to clean that up for sure. You want Snell scoring system?
Oh, let's go.
Let's go Snell scoring system, and then we go our picks. So, things are getting tight. It's not over yet.
It ain't over.
If Emily finishes, and if we get the conference championship game, that adds another game where people can come back.
They say the conference championship games were 3. According to Jeff Snell. That's what he told me.
I don't know.
That was a personal call.
Joe won this week, by the way. Joe picked.
Joe now has 2 points.
Yeah. Joe picked 31-24.
Oh.
Was the final. I picked 35-21. Now, I nailed a score correctly for the second straight week. So I think we should all just stop and take that in for a moment. Think about that.
Wait, what score did you say?
I said 35-21 Liberty, and Liberty scored 35.
Oh, correct. You nailed the points for Liberty.
Right, yeah.
So
I got second.
I still got the win?
You got the win. So right now I have 10 overall points, Emily 7.5, Joe 5.5. Emily still has a chance, especially if we get the conference championship game, bowl game, all that. So there is a path. There is a path.
What's the total score? 7.5 to what?
I have 10, Emily 7.5, you 5.5.
Yeah.
So I guess
I'm
1,
just
2, 3.
trying to
I still got a shot.
You have an outside.
Yeah, because the championship games were 3.
Well, that's not. I don't know. You'll have to take that up with Jeff. Yeah, I'll take that.
Championship games should be worth more. There's no doubt.
Okay, well, we can talk about that. Hey, it's not me. It's Jeff. It's Snell.
Just
Snell. He figures this all out. All right, we want bold predictions?
Yes.
All right.
This is a good one.
You want me to go first?
Go first.
I'm going to go. And listen, first off, I'm not afraid to pick the other side. I picked Jacksonville State. I picked Oregon. I've done it. I went out on a limb and picked the dime.
I picked Oregon.
When everybody else said, oh, you're crazy, I said, I think this Bo Nix kid has a shot. I think he's pretty good. I see something there.
He's doing okay.
Yeah, he's doing okay in the NFL, too.
Holy it up.
Smokes.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I'm super pumped for him.
But all that being said, I'm going 24-20 Liberty.
What? I swear you could look at the math on my phone. I just did. And what would cost?
The math? The math? What do you mean the math?
The math?
What is that?
I was going to guess that same exact score.
The math.
Carry the 2.
Yeah.
No, I was just running through my head. Okay, we're going to score a field goal on that drive.
It's going to be tight, but I think Liberty pulls it out.
I think it's going to be tight, too.
Hold on, who's going to do something special?
Okay,
I'll
go.
Let's add in.
I'll say if you want to go bold, I'm going to say Jacob Jenkins 2 touchdowns.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Jenkins got to fill in. That's back to the Emily Austin Cud of the next man up.
Right.
Jenkins. I like that.
Hanshaw's out.
Yeah.
Henderson's out. So Jenkins is going to need to do something.
I'm not sure what it is. Yeah,
Gosh, I don't know.
It didn't look good.
Yeah.
Oh, now you've messed up her math.
Or Joe, you want to go while she
go,
thinks?
I'll
While
go.
she does adds.
I'm gonna go.
I
don't know if I've ever bet against the Flames.
I don't think you have.
Yeah.
I don't think I even at that Oregon game.
Yeah, I know.
I think both of us.
You got caught up. You just got caught up in the
Got
wave
emotions.
of emotions. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I gave the pregame speech.
You were out there at the pep rally.
I gave the pregame
We just got
speech.
all caught up in it. We're
the
talking
pep
to that one old lady. It was great. We all just got caught up in all the emotion of it all.
I'm gonna go. This is gonna be a good ball game. This is gonna be a good ball game.
Yeah, that's why
I'm gonna say the score is 28-28. The game goes
Hold
in.
on, 28-28.
Can I finish?
Okay.
Can I
Good.
finish?
Okay. You're not finished.
Can I finish?
I was like, I don't think they can
Can I
end it that
finish?
way. Yeah,
Can
sorry.
I
Go ahead.
finish?
Sorry. Go
There's gonna be
ahead.
a massive rainstorm.
5-hour rain.
5-hour rainstorm, and then they're gonna call it a 20. No, it's gonna be 28-28, right? The game's gonna go into overtime.
Okay.
And I'm getting really specific.
Ah,
here.
you are.
And the Flames are going to end up winning the football game 38-35.
38.
Wow, that's a lot.
35 in OT.
Yeah.
Wow. That is specific.
And in that,
You don't have to get more. That's
I-
pretty bold in
No,
itself if you
it
want to
is.
stop there.
I think you're good,
You can.
Joe.
I'm gonna stop there.
That's pretty bold.
I'm
Yeah.
just gonna stop.
I'm gonna go. Wait, who'd you have winning?
Liberty.
Okay.
38-35.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna
What'd you say,
go.
24-21?
I think I'm gonna go
24-21.
31-27.
Liberty scores 5 touchdowns.
Quentin Cooley does the Donald Trump dance and the golf swing at the end of one of his
Cooley, I got
touchdown
that.
celebrations.
I'll text
Cooley
Cooley.
Trump dance. That's bold.
Yeah.
Got it. By the way,
Wait, I didn't say who.
oh, you said 127.
But I
Liberty.
didn't say who.
Oh, you didn't say Liberty? Oh, really?
Are you
Oh,
gonna do it?
You gonna do it?
Have some guts.
I think I'll do
Be a
it.
homer.
okay.
I think I'll do Western
I'm
Kentucky.
the only homer in this thing.
Last thing I want to say.
It's going to be a heartbreaker, and I hope I'm wrong. Dear Flames, please prove me wrong. Please prove me wrong.
One more thing before you go. So there is a world in which 4 teams end up 6-2 at the end of all this.
That's wild.
If Liberty wins the last 2 against Western Kentucky and Sam Houston, and Jacksonville State loses the last 2 against those same teams. Now, I'm told as long as Liberty wins these last 2, they're in.
Mm-hmm.
Who hosts and how that all would have to shake out. So still not quite totally sure on how all that would go in the 4-way tie. However, I looked at the tiebreaker scenario for Conference USA. One of the tiebreakers, as you work your way down, it gets to your academic progress rate over the past few years.
You're kidding me.
I'm not kidding. It's like the 6th thing down. So when you're saying win in the classroom, this is the time.
On and off
This
the
is
field.
the time. But I got to thinking about it. Here's my pitch, Joe, and I want your take on this.
This is unbelievable. Academic progress.
So when you
That's
here's
because students.
Here's what my tiebreaker scenario would be. If I was conference commissioner, it would be simple. It would be you go head to head,
Yes.
and then you go pick your best coach. Let's get in a steel cage and let's figure it out.
Oh, some UFC.
So you pick
action?
your coach. Doesn't have to be a head coach. Any coach on staff. Let's
Oh
step in,
my
or maybe you put on the
gosh.
gloves. You a Mike Tyson style, not recently, old school, and you just duke it out. Which
that would be brutal.
That would be.
Who
that's
would
a
you
terrible
select?
Idea.
So now you
for
get into-
Liberty staff, I've got who I would take. But who would you take,
Colton
Liberty staff?
Corn?
You send in one guy.
Colton Corn is a vicious man.
One guy. Who would you send in?
Colton Corn is a vicious human being. He's got a crazy eye
Yeah.
to him. He's got crazy eye.
Yeah. I think
He's got crazy eye.
Oh no, he does. He's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he's.
I think
Oh,
I
And
would.
my
Willie,
gosh,
Willie,
that is
Willie's like, I
hilarious.
know he's got crazy eye.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
have crazy
yeah.
eye. He's got crazy eye.
I think I would send Josh Lynham in there.
Oh yeah.
Because you
Lion
got to
was
factor in. You got to factor in age. You know, like back in the day,
What about Chad Scott?
Coach
I
Durkin. You
know.
give me 25 years ago, like Durkin, send him in there. You know what I mean? But
I
like
might
now,
take Durkin. He's got a new hip.
that's true. He's probably feeling pretty limber.
He's got a brand new hip.
yeah.
All right, we gotta. Okay.
I
No,
mean,
hold
so
on.
something
No,
to think
we
hold on.
about.
gotta wrap this
No,
up.
no.
We have
I
been
get
just
to say my name. I want to find.
Yeah.
I get to do this.
Yeah.
I want to do this. You know what? I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm telling you right now. The guy I might send in there. Like, don't get me wrong. Lynham's a little bit of a tank.
Yeah.
But I also take when you get in those UFC matches. Like, dude, quickness matters, right? And length matters,
Okay.
right? I might send in Dino.
Ooh, that's good.
Dino Waits.
Dino Waits.
I might send in
Wow.
Dino.
That's true.
Yeah, he's got length to him. He's got lettuce. He's got quickness. He's got some muscle mass on him.
Yeah.
Like Dino, you don't want to tangle Dino.
That's true.
And you know what else too about Dino is? He comes across as that guy. He's like just gentle, super nice guy, blah blah. It's like he's got that switch.
Yep.
He's a CrossFit
When
guy.
he hits that switch.
Yeah.
You don't want to mess with him.
That's true.
The guys who act like tough guys usually aren't tough guys.
Ah, that's good. No, I like that. Yeah. All right.
Hey, if you missed the story on Jacob Sonnier, he's the assistant strength and conditioning coach. That story came out last week. Incredible testimony.
Yeah.
So be sure to go and check that out. What do we have coming this week?
Story about Asa Chapman this week.
Great
he was a
story
football
on
player
Asa,
here that got into a lot of trouble and then got a second
Asa
chance.
Chapman,
And a lot of people here at this school kind of rallied around him. And now he's working here at Liberty, helping athletes
He is.
himself. So it's a great
guy.
redemption story.
And he has a puppy named Nala. She's so cute.
That means it's like a husky then.
No, it's a golden retriever.
Oh really?
Oh, really? Huh.
Nala, like kind of like a.
No, I got Lion King.
like a
Yeah,
Lion
I know
King.
why my nephew had a dog named Nala. and a husky.
We'll see you guys on the call this Saturday, 1 o'clock
Listen,
kick.
we're
Please
emptying
come
the
out.
tank this week.
Yeah.
We're leaving it last go around. We leave it all out there.
Williams Stadium needs to be a packed house.
Do you have
Senior
any
day,
good one-liners?
military.
I'm loaded. I'm locked and loaded. And when you say empty a tank, I'm telling you right now, Quentin Cooley looked like he was running through hell with gasoline shorts on.
That's a good one.
I mean,
For Joe and Matt, I'm signing off this Flame Central podcast powered by Alcova Mortgage. We'll see you on the call.
Pete.